Order, please. This regular meeting of the Joshua Basin Water District Board of Directors is for July 16 is now in session. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Vaulted to that part where we left God out for a while. Determination of a quorum. General Manager Johnson, a roll call, please.
President Flowen,
Present.
Vice President Doolittle.
Here.
Director Fick.
Here.
Director Jarlsberg.
Here.
Director Short.
Here. Thank you very much. All directors are present in the boardroom. There is no request for remote participation. We have a quorum. Approval of the agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
A second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, motion approved. Public comment. This designated time is for members of the public to provide comments on any district-related matter, whether appearing on the agenda or not. Under provisions of the Brown Act, the board is prohibited from taking action on items not listed on the agenda. At the discretion of the board president, comments on a particular agendized item may be deferred until that item is heard. I see no public, but no public comment. Hearing none. Do we have any, general manager, do we have any written, electronic, or voicemail public comment?
No, there's none to my knowledge.
Thank you very much. Public comment time is now closed. Consent calendar. Consent calendar items are expected to be routine and non-controversial, to be acted upon by the board at one time without discussion. If a board member would like an item handled separately, it will be removed from the consent agenda for a separate action. We have two items. One is the draft minutes for the board meeting on June 18, and also draft minutes for the special board meeting for June 18. Does anybody want to remove an item from the consent calendar? Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I'll motion.
Thank you, David. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you very much. All those in favor of approving the consent calendar? Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. We have no item 6. Item 7 is discussion / action calendar. We'll start with the May 2025 check register. Finance and Roman, if you please.
Thank you very much. Good evening. We have the May 2025 check register. So we'll start right off with that. On page 12, up at the top, like we've seen in the prior couple of months, we have a few account temps invoices for an employee leave of absence that ended in early June. So you'll see one more or so of those, I think. We have Aquametric Sales Company with some inventory that was purchased, 2 meters. We also have Amazon on this page. Have a list of some of the items that were purchased: a mouse pad, wireless doorbell, batteries, toner, storage cabinet, copy paper, vehicle door latches, door hinge assembly, screen protectors, hose reels, work safety boots, grease gun, socket set, lug nuts, 32-inch smart TV, fuel filter, and a coolant overflow tanks. Kind of a variety of items there.
Director Jarlsberg.
Did you say doorbell?
Wireless doorbell.
Wireless doorbell, what's?
We have one for receiving here and then one at the front.
Okay,
desk.
so why are we using them? Just explain a little bit.
Oh, If we have FedEx drop off a package, they need to come to the store, ring the bell to be let in to drop off the package.
Okay, so it's just notice that somebody's at the door.
That's right.
Okay,
And Garda would.
I just, I was curious. I'm sorry.
Did Garda use that?
Yes, I did.
Why do we have it at the front door?
We have it at the window.
Oh, at the window, if someone's not there.
That's,
Oh, okay, yeah, it's a little confusing, so, okay, got it.
okay, thanks, sorry.
Like the old bell, huh? Just like, yeah.
It's exactly like the old bell, it's just modern.
Yeah,
Down at the bottom of the page, we have a couple of invoices from CalPERS. Those are routine. Nothing else really caught my attention on this page. Does anyone have any questions?
The arborist services.
Yeah.
Is that an annual thing or do they do that every month?
That's a monthly charge.
It's all the grounds, it's
Yeah.
not just the demo garden.
They just rake it up or something?
For the admin building, it's so around the perimeter of the building, around the front of the street and the demonstration garden. They're here every Tuesday to do maintenance on all of those areas.
All right, I'll move on to page 13. At the very top, you can see CG Brown and Company, that's our CPAs. They're starting the audit for 24-25. We actually already had the interim preliminary audit, so that's the start of the bills for that. We have Core and Main on this page with 4 clay valve position indicators, 2 clay valve pressure reducing valves, inventory, clamps and meter repair supplies, including gaskets and bolt sets. In the middle of the page, Employment Development Department, that's our self-insurance for unemployment. 4-shock, well 14 and D11 booster updates, and our Home Depot account, we purchased socket sets, grease gun, and blades for a grinder. Any other questions on that page? Director Fick might have had a. Did you have a question on that page?
What page are we on? 13?
Page 13.
Right out, 13.
At a third of the way up.
Yeah, I know, that's. I was also curious as to the internet was $5.50. Is that a monthly?
Yes.
Yeah, it is. For all
Okay.
facilities, yeah.
Fiber internet.
Oh, fiber, well, okay, that makes a difference.
Nothing else?
No, I'm still reading on.
Okay.
oh. Maybe while he's reading, the Joshua Tree Voice, I understand that they don't have a print anymore. And that's what I've heard. And I actually went online and not so local anymore, but we have some kind of we have ads through their online.
We have conservation ads through the MWA grant that we
Yeah.
received last year, and this
Yeah.
is the tail end of those ads for
Oh.
last year's grants.
Okay.
So
Through us, but funded by the grant. MWA.
But these are multiple ads.
Multiple ads. You want to add to that?
Where do I begin? Our 5-year program, this last year, I have to agree with Director Little that there's woo-woo in the air because out of 5 vendors, out of 6 vendors, 5 had major hiccups this year and they could not deliver according to the purchase orders.
No,
And as I am managing the grant on behalf of the water district, I was calling in proofs of they have
Yeah.
executed the deliverable. None of them had been delivered. So we had to get creative for, we were gonna have to return the money and we still need to get conservation message out, and we had Twin Island Palms involved. So we had to rethink how to reach our public and the touring public. And Josh Voice specifically had dissolved their LLC.
Oh, no.
And with that went their print. And so that was a significant amount of money. And I talked to them great like organizing, and they really, really wanted to represent this area, and they do have a heavy online presence. And there was a discussion just after we got this grant that social media and online stuff was the way to go. So I can't recall right now, but they had quite a significant online presence that drew people to Joshua Tree with their online site. So we renegotiated how to spend those monies, and that was all okay, you know, and everything's good. But all of these vendors, it was like near the end in May, and I feel sorry for Kenya because we were scrambling to try to make sure that we got all our invoices into MWA, but the deliverables were not done. So what we did is we asked for payment in advance, and they are delivering through fall practically next year, or well, fiscal year. Most of the vendors, Upper Mountain Broadcasting is finishing up. I think they finished up June 30th or it's July 30th. I'd have to look. But everyone had problems. Either 29. I asked for proofs and we didn't do it. You know, so instead of hurting the community, we tried to rethink how to do this, and we're still getting the conservation message out, which during this heat is wonderful actually, because usually we stop first. So that's kind of what was going on with all of that.
On page 13. All right, page 14.
Well, I do have a question then. So, tell me, I know I've expressed before, it's right there in the middle, High Desert Cultural Center. Tell me how, we were able to get them a grant without it being a conflict. Was there something special done or?
Well, it's for the same grant. It's through that MWA grant.
Right.
So I didn't know that there's an issue there. We are limited and
We talked to it with our legal counsel as well, and there is no conflict.
Okay, so I just want to refer, because we sat here, I would appreciate hearing about that, but because we had a meeting last year, and I have a printout of our Article 6, our conflict of interest code. And in it, it says that it defines a public official, which means every member, officer, employee, or consultant of a state or local government agency. And so it says that public officials are involved in making or participating in a decision if they, direct any action, course of action, enters into contractual agreement on behalf of his or her agency. And so the code says that, it exists when they're in a position and decisions made in his or her official capacity. I'm sorry that I have to be the one to say this again, but it concerns me. And I was hoping that what you were going to say was that our consultant had recused herself in making this decision, and those monies were granted to the High Desert Cultural Center.
Is there a check in here for High Desert Cultural Center? Because
yes,
But she doesn't have signing or purchasing authority, so it wasn't signed by Kathleen. So that's where I can see the difference, is that she doesn't have any purchasing authority or contract authority.
I don't even think
Okay, so what the thing says is that a public official makes a governmental decision if the official authorizes or directs any actions, votes, appoints a person, obligates or commits his or her agency to any course of action, or enters into contractual agreement on behalf of his or her agency. So, and then a public official participates in a governmental decision if the official provides information, an opinion, or a recommendation for the purpose of affecting the decision without significant intervening substantive review. So what I see here is the course of action, because I would imagine that you guys weren't saying, okay, these are the people that we're going to do this advertising with.
The way I recall it is that last year we brought the grant through the board and all of the different vendors were listed within the grant and the board authorized the grant.
Yeah, I don't,
Kathleen,
no, I don't remember seeing all the people that we were gonna give the money to.
it was in the grant application. And that was submitted when we brought the grant through the board. That's my recollection.
right, it's not my
It's that way previously because you raised concern. That's how I did it last year.
Okay, well, does anybody else recollect that?
Well, I remember the concern you raised.
Yeah.
And I don't remember the Joshua Tree voice being in on it, and that's quite a jump.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, I was happy to, yeah, I'm still concerned about this. And I don't think, Jeff, would you weigh in here when I was just reading from this code? Do you, I thought that.
There are two sides to that equation. It certainly, you look at whether someone participated in the decision to award the contract. I don't know if that happened in this case, in terms of what the decision-making process in Tree was for that approval. But it also has to be a qualifying interest on the other side of the equation. There is no conflict of interest associated with the income of a child or a non-dependent child. So there is not a qualifying conflict of interest in that regard. There is in a spouse, there is in your obviously own income and multiple other qualifying interests that would exist, but there's not one in the spouse of a dependent, in the interest of the income of a dependent child. So that's my it's been a long time since I looked at that issue, but that was my recollection as to what created a non-issue here.
Apply for this grant this year. So
Really?
this won't be the issue for next year.
How come?
We went for the district tours instead.
Oh, okay, all right, well, okay, I've said my piece.
so this is the final checks then.
Well, and you know how the timing of checks come in. I think we should be really close to it. There might be one more set. That's the final.
We were all supposed to submit by the end of May because
Fiscal year.
we could not fix. the good.
Right.
One more, but the total was 16. No, that's the final one. There was one last month as well.
Shall we move on?
Yes, let's do.
Okay, thanks. All right, page 14, interesting municipal diving services, right? Above the middle there with the final invoice for tank inspection and cleaning at tank C3. We have Napa Auto Parts right below that, purchase some car batteries, fuel filters, fuel line hoses, etc. Nielsen Fire and Ice, I just wanted to mention, we're seeing a little more with AC issues, it's that time of year, so some services there. Quinn Company, remove and install electric modular control panel for GR5, the generator 5.
Yeah.
And I think that was all I marked on that page. Questions?
I did have a question on the Quinn thing.
Oh.
I mean, it seemed like, what did we do for that amount of money? What did we get?
So the existing generator at that site, I don't know the age of the generator offhand, but there's a control panel for that generator. There were some malfunctions to that control panel.
And where is this?
That is at
Where
the
is it?
pneumatic station on the district. It's on the south side of the district. That's a backup generator to the pneumatic system that serves one of the pressure zones. And the control panel went bad. And of course, it's outdated. You have to buy a new updated control panel. So that's the cost of the control panel and the tech to come up on site to install that control panel, test it, and making sure it's working okay.
Is that actually repair or replacement?
It was a replacement of the control panel, the interface, the electronic
Yeah.
interface that controls.
Yeah, but it's listed as repair. That's what,
Yeah, because we replaced and repaired the control.
okay. But it did seem like a chunk of money. I noticed that before.
Yeah, and one of the disadvantages we have is that being, we're more remote, the travel time
Oh.
for companies that come up, that increases some of the cost.
Thank you.
And so we're gonna safely store any schematic records and all of that stuff so that they're readily available.
that we were looking for too.
Oh, that's good.
Project.
All right, moving on to page 15. We have our lovely Southern California Edison bills here, the normal power to buildings and generators, the smaller one, and the larger one. Dance, that included California Air Resources Board clean truck check compliance fee, toolbox organizer, tri-state seminar registration fees, door latch, and channel locks. David's card, quite a bit going on there this month, including the monthly fee for climate controlled indoor storage, monthly Adobe subscriptions, CSDA, Aqua, BC. Oh, sorry. These are, I think, all postings for recruitment. Is that correct? Yeah. So we had recruitment expense through various organizations, including CSDA, Aqua, BC Water Jobs, CWEA, Western City Magazine, Pepe Smith and Associates, which I hadn't heard of before, Transit Talent, and Waterwise Pro Job postings. We also had a fee for the E21 tank vapor testing, key padlock, satellite phone firmware update fees, descriptive stormwater signs, and river rock for the Gabion Wall project. And Sarah's card included the General Manager Leadership Summit Airfare, Tri-State Seminar registration fees, AWWA Cross Connection training fees, hotel deposits for the Tri-State Seminar, name tags for directors, CWSA, legislative trip, transportation meals and parking for General Manager Johnson, and business cards for Director Dooley. Anything else of interest on that page? Any questions?
This is page 15.
On page 15.
Okay, I'm just curious, what does Theater 29 do?
That was the water conservation ads and other programs,
Okay, the programs.
which, again, that was an issue. So we will see it in the future.
Okay, good.
I did hear the ads on the radio and I did see them on the sign, and that was nice to see and hear.
Right, any other questions before we move on? That is a total of $208,189.56 on the regular check register, pretty low
Yeah,
compared
Low.
to months.
Well, it's 200,000 and change, when I used to think if it was 400,000 change, it was low. So this is, and it will be as high as 1 million in some months. But I didn't notice your disclaimer this time about how some of the bills are, for want of a better word, seasonal and.
Yeah. You'll see that a little bit. I included in the financial report a spending graph there. We can kind of talk about the volatility of the spending and the receipts of revenue. All right, moving on to page 17, we have paychecks. This is our payroll register, and it includes the FSA, which is the flexible spending account, which is an employee benefit. The actual payroll processing costs were $1,068.05, plus I believe there was $75 in FSA processing, and then the remainder of that balance on that page is the FSA employee benefit, where we're reimbursing them for withheld funds. Questions on that page?
Are we gonna keep with paychecks, or what, we're gonna go with Paycom?
Oh, that's a good question. Do you want to answer that, or?
You know, have been fighting with Paycom for months. Autumn probably can answer this question better than me, but after a long deliberation, we decided that we're not going to move forward with them. They cannot support the calculations necessary to do our payroll. So right now they're working on the termination with them.
Okay.
Unfortunately, they were looking at some serious workarounds, and so we're not that, I don't want to say we're better off with paychecks. We're not happy with paychecks still, but we want to work through we want to try, to work through some of the issues.
Well, it keeps them nervous. They're on probation.
But apparently there are not a lot of choices out there.
A lot of choices, but there are
A good one.
choices that work for us.
Yeah.
Because of being a public agency and certain requirements that we have. And we frankly found that a lot of other companies and agencies aren't necessarily they're not necessarily following the law properly in all places.
Oh,
It's frustrating.
We just
yeah,
figured
yeah.
a retirement gig is going to be payroll software.
Right.
yeah.
And in all fairness, we explained the calculations that we needed in detail with examples and let them know up front, this is what we're looking for. This is our priority. These right here, this has to work. All of them, they could not do. And it wasn't until we're halfway through implementation that we really had to push the issue and say, where are we at with this? Workaround, unfortunately, is a somewhat manual intervention where my goal is to have the software do all the calculations, the less somebody can go in there and have to either do the calculation or have access to that calculation, more potential for errors or any, whether intended or not intended. So it's not a good fit for us to have something that with that level of exposure, so.
And it wasn't made lightly, the decision. I think we were 7 months into that.
Yeah,
process.
I know. Talking about
It was a
while.
really hard decision to say this isn't going to work. So the commitment right now is to try to make paychecks work because the three of us have been through multiple conversions and it's a massive undertaking. And so we'd rather not undertake it if we can make paychecks.
Like keeping them on their toes. I did reach out to them for the termination process. And so we do have people reaching out to us. And as soon as I'm finished with the audit this year, that's going to be my focus again. I'm a little hopeful, but it's really frustrating in all honesty with anybody nowadays that to get help that we actually need. Somebody fully understands what we're asking for. I give examples, I give details, and they just want a simple fix. And the software is limited too. So it's really frustrating and difficult, but I'm gonna try.
I noticed in most of the meetings that I'm going to with the CSDA group, we're on the small side of these public agencies, I think, aren't we?
We are, and a lot of them look at how many employees we have and think it's very simple and, oh, not a problem. But then as soon as we start telling them all our needs, they severely underestimate what we require, so. But yes, we are on the small side and it should be, they look at it as, oh, no problem, but it's anything but.
We were kind of forced into this as well, because Paychex used to have a program called Preview that actually worked really well for our payroll. They went away with it and went to Flex. That's where we started having the issues with their new software. So that's why we've been trying to find software to meet the needs, because Flex has been challenging, but so are all of them. And we're also realizing that those companies, people job hop between them, so the service isn't really, we're not finding it to be optimal in one or the other.
We had a number of employees doing a test environment too, right? Trying to
Paycom,
make it
yes.
work, yeah, so.
Well, I just had a kind of a quick thing. The thing I've been unhappy with is the pay stub. Lack of real information on it. And I wondered if the employees have the same issue with their pay stubs. I mean, I want to see what meetings the pay was for, you know, and the dates and stuff and the details not.
Instead, that's just an earning code. If you want a detailed information, it's
In the check register.
that's similar to exactly what's in the check register. That can be provided to you. It's separately, it's a separate report that I would have to run and provide. to
Well, I always thought I wanted to double check that it was correct. It's probably on the pay stub to see what I'm being paid for. So I wondered if anything like that happened for staff.
Right?
Yeah,
It'll say the number of meetings, but not what they are or where they are or when they were.
If you match it to the check register, that should match.
The check registers better, but I don't keep that. I
It's
mean,
handy.
yeah,
So employees don't have the same type of payroll. It's different. They see how many hours they work.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, so it was disappointing, but we'll get through it.
Yes.
All right, so moving on to page 19, we have the customer refunds or deposits that they have placed on account when they even started service with us, or if they were cut off for non-payment. And so here we have just the routine refunds. We also have at the bottom there was a void and reissue. I think that's the one, yeah. There was a error in the posting date, and so that one was voided and reissued.
But you have the check numbers, the same number. That's what I was
Yes.
curious
I
about.
think it was reissued probably in another period, probably in
Well, that-
that was the one that wasn't the one that was left. Sorry, there's also a 10-cent check on that register.
Oh, yeah.
That is, was voided and left on the account as a credit. I believe in that case, if my memory serves me, I believe that customer did not want that check. And so we just left it on the account instead of, reissuing it again and having that happen once again. So I think probably what happened with the large check though that was voided and reissued, I'm guessing this was the original issue, the void, and then it was
You'll see the next one
reissued
next month
on
in
in
June.
June.
For the next report.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any questions on that page? All right, moving on to the director pages. So we have a lot of activity on some of them, some conferences, looks like Aqua. We have some CSDA, SDLA. Not sure what that is. Off the top of my head.
Leadership Academy, Special Districts Leadership Academy, yeah.
But pretty routine otherwise. Questions on those pages up to page 23? There are no further questions. That is the check register for May.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Is there a motion from the board to approve the May 2025 check register?
I'll motion to approve the check register May 2025.
Thank you very much. A second, please.
I'll second. Oh, you got first.
I guess we're using.
All in unison now.
Ms. Little?
Yes.
Director Fick?
Yes.
Director Charlesberg?
Yes.
Director Short?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Motion carried. Second item is the appropriation limit for fiscal year 20.
By pointing out some inconsistencies that I noticed and I've addressed, and the appropriation, is it the appropriation limit or is it the appropriations limit? And I did look it up, and in code it is plural with an S. So in the future, I will be writing all of my material with the S, but now you may see it either way. All right, so the appropriations limit, this is a routine item that we bring every year. And it's also known as the GAN limit. It's a constitutional spending cap on tax revenues from California local and state governments. It was established by Proposition 4 in 1979/80. I think it was 79 and then implemented in 1980. It is a response largely to Proposition 13 that was, I guess there was a fear after Proposition 13 with the property taxes, that limitation was passed. There was concern that government might attempt to raise funds, raise revenues in other ways through taxes. So this appropriation limit was put in place. And so far, we have never exceeded the appropriation limit according to our calculation, but I will explain a little bit about how that works. So the proceeds of taxes that are subject to the limit include general tax revenues like our property taxes that we receive from the county, proceeds from investment of tax revenues. And what that actually means, I've included the full budget for our interest revenues. However, it actually only includes the portion that is earned, the portion of interest earned from property taxes that we receive. So that's a more in-depth calculation. And so I just include the entire interest because we are not even close to approaching the appropriation limit. Revenue from user fees and charges that exceed the cost of providing service, which ours do not. And the district anticipates receiving $950,000 in general tax revenues from property taxes and approximately $600,000 in interest revenue. Again, that's all of it, but not even that full amount would really be subject to the appropriation limit in this case. Calculation factors that are used come from the California Department of Finance, and they include the cost of living based on the per capita personal income and population for incorporated portions of San Bernardino County. The cost of living increased by 6.44% and the population increased by 0.54%. And those factors calculate out to an increase of $164,227,000 on top of last year's appropriation limit, making the 25-26 limit $2,505,383. And so the district's total of approximately $1,550,000 that is expected in tax proceeds is well below the $2.5 million appropriations limit. And so I will take questions gladly, but we recommend adopting the resolution 25-1077. And happy to take any questions.
Vice President Doolittle.
Well, I think we've covered this GAN limit before, but every day it's a new day for me whenever we come up and look at it. And so, obviously I'm for this. I'm not against it, but I'm trying to understand. So our appropriations limit would be the amount that we would receive from the general tax revenues, the interest revenues, and the user fees and charges.
Yes, it's the maximum.
That's the maximum.
Yes.
And that maximum, we could get closer to that maximum if we put it to a vote to the ratepayers that they would agree to raising the property taxes?
No.
Okay.
Property taxes are something else. That's all dictated by other statutes in the county.
Right, yeah.
We can't control what we receive in property tax.
Oh, okay.
But if for
That's
some
what I'm thinking
reason
of.
that you're thinking of the standby water availability.
Oh, okay. All right, okay.
Yeah, but if the property taxes were to go up significantly, if we suddenly started receiving $1 million more, we would be getting really close to the appropriation limit. And my understanding is that anything that exceeds the appropriations limit, we would have to refund to the
Oh,
the
okay.
ratepayers or the taxpayers.
Oh.
We have to, yeah.
So tell me how,
complicated.
okay, so it says we, got about 950K in general tax revenues, but then we have 600K in interest revenue. So is that actually interest on 950K or is that interest on
No.
something else? Because that would be,
That's.
I want to invest in that.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
that is
yeah.
the full interest budget for the district and only the portion, so this is an overestimation. The portion of interest that's earned on the 950,000 is actually what would be subject. So what I've calculated as our proceeds of taxes that are subject is actually higher than it would be, which means that we have more room in there than even than that $1 million that we're showing. It's just a much more in-depth and time-consuming calculation to calculate out the portion of interest.
Oh, I see.
The 900.
Oh, so you just use the 600K. Oh, okay. Oh, all right.
Approaching that.
Okay, got it.
Creation limit at all.
Got it.
Yeah, so we would just be in a better position. If
Okay.
we're doing a more precise calculation on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad you didn't wear yourself out on that.
Thank you.
That's all from me. Thank you.
Director Swing?
Well, can't be answered, but I'd be curious as to, it says a 0.5% increase in the population of unincorporated San Bernardino County.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think, what would be the ratio of incorporated towns versus unincorporated? So, I mean, it can't be answered by you guys, but I'd be curious, because I know Joshua Tree probably had a lessening of its population in the last 2 or 3 years because of the STR issue. And so
Yeah.
that would have been reflected last year in the GAN thing.
Yeah, it's a good question. I know we receive a list of those, or we can look up a list of what each of the counties and cities are within San Bernardino County. And then the unincorporated is all listed separately. It's
Yes.
probably a way to,
It's an idle curiosity. to
yeah,
do it.
yeah, I'm
Do
not
it,
sure.
but Sometimes takes a day.
Good question.
Okay.
Director Jarlsberg?
Well, my question is actually around that same issue. Because it says here the limit provides for an annual increase no greater than the increase in the cost of living, plus the increase in population. And Joshua Tree did not have an increase, but we are subject to the increase in the whole unincorporated part of the county.
That's correct.
Is that positive for us or is that a negative? I mean,
It's positive. I mean, if Joshua Tree did not have an increase, but we're using the unincorporated figures.
yeah,
We're getting an increase because of
But-
to the appropriation limit.
but 0.5%.
That we could receive in what's considered tax revenues.
Yeah,
It's to our benefit.
Director Fick, we lost a population in the 2020 census. Significantly, 13%. And yeah, so I was just curious that I guess we're benefited by the fact that the county in general, or the unincorporated part of it, gained population.
In this case, yeah.
We lost,
Here.
they went away from here, apparently. Okay. Yeah, I was just curious about that too. Okay.
Director Short?
No questions.
So, does this, my understanding is that we do not tax people here. We're a retailer and we sell water. And it's actually the county, there's something in their constitution or something that says that they're gonna distribute X amount of their revenue to under governmental entities.
Right.
So they would go to LAVCO or something and see who those people would be, the local agency formation.
There's a complex calculation for how the county distributes the portion of property taxes that we receive, all of the agencies that are eligible. Not all agencies receive a portion of the property taxes. And it goes way back to the 70s, something that happened prior to Proposition 13, whether you were opted in at that point or opted out. So some agencies like ours don't even receive that almost $1 million in property taxes, if you can imagine that. So we're quite fortunate to have that.
Yeah, I know we're 900 and something thousand
Yes.
that we get.
Yeah, it's over $1 million this year, or in 24-25, but we estimated 950,000 for 25-26 because we thought it might go down a little bit, but that's, all speculative too.
So in essence, these two numbers here in our reporting is going to the county, and then the county is going to make a report about what they do as far as taxation goes, because we do not tax people. That's kind of a sensitive issue to establish that we do not tax our customers.
We do not. This actually is not something that goes to the county, but this appropriation limit resolution and calculation is reviewed by the auditors as part of the audit. That's a requirement of the state.
Historically, as I recall this, that there was a very rapid increase in the value of properties way back when. And the counties were raking in a lot of money for property taxes, and they were literally taxing people out of their houses.
Mhm.
It would be in particular that
Seniors especially.
it's not, believe it or not. And so they, Al Jarvis and Paul Gann did the Prop 13 thing. And then there was sort of a deal. What was happening is that government counties were doing an end run by converting these taxes into fees for things. And that's what this is a result of, this thing to prevent governmental entities from creating these fees and stuff and getting around the restrictions on spending, that kind of thing. Thought I'd mention that. Do we have any public comment on this? We don't have the Korea today, I noticed.
Yeah, there's that too.
Okay, that's this one. Hearing nothing further. Is there a motion from the board to adopt resolution 1075-1077?
Make the motion.
I'll second.
Thank you very much. General Manager Johnson, roll call.
President Flynn,
Aye.
Vice President Doolittle.
Aye.
Director Fick,
Yes.
Director Jonesbert.
Yes.
Director Short.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Motion carried. Third item, updated resolution to authorize the county to collect Copper Mountain Mesa, that's CMM Assessment District, charges via the property tax rules. This would be resolution 25. This is our resolution number 25-1078. Director of Finance and Enrollment.
You. I mean to monopolize the evening, but I guess I'm going to. So in 1996, the district issued for about $4.5 million in Copper Mountain Mesa Assessment District limited obligation improvement bonds. And the district annually collects from the assessment district participants to repay the bonded debt obligation to the USDA, who's the bondholder. Now, each year for several decades, and maybe from the beginning of time, I'm not positive, but the district has utilized the San Bernardino County property tax rolls as the means to collect the bonded debt payments from the CMM assessment district participants. And so this year, the county, San Bernardino County, has changed some of their requirements for placing charges on the tax roll. And so one of the changes is that they want each resolution to be for a specific fiscal year. We had been using the same resolution since the beginning of time each year, and that was acceptable, but now they've changed that requirement. So we do need to adopt a new resolution, and we'll likely have to do so each year to include a specific fiscal year. So NBS and legal counsel have worked with me, and we've drafted the attached updated resolution for this purpose. This resolution will allow the district to place about $256,882 on the tax roll for the Copper Mountain Mesa Assessment District debt service. And one important piece that I did want to mention is what I have written in the fiscal impact section of the staff report, which is that if this resolution were not adopted, it could potentially put the district in a position to be liable for paying the debt service. Although there has been some debate historically about whether the district is contingently liable for the debt service of the Copper Mountain Mesa Assessment District. I know I got a lot of information from Susan about that. She had some back and forth with legal at early on in the process. I guess the USDA inadvertently wrote the contract so that we would not be contingently liable, but that was not their intention. And so, you know, she had all of this, she's got it all in writing. So I do have information on this documented. But, you know, if it comes down to it, we could potentially be held contingently liable, although I think we should not be. And I will gladly field any questions for that.
President Doolittle?
We would be liable for what? I'm trying to understand what we'd be liable for.
The debt service, so we're collecting through this resolution
Yes.
to place the bond debt onto the property tax rolls like we do every year, like we have since inception, I assume. And with that money that we collect, we pay the bondholder USDA. If we can't place that debt for collection, then we would not have those payments to pass on to the bondholder. And we could be held contingently liable for making those payments. We do have a reserve. So for 1 year, we have enough in that reserve to pay those payments. However, you know, that's not an indefinite solution.
And it's just people in this area that are paying for that, right?
It's just CNM, the district.
And I see that this is, this debt charge will be submitted to the county property tax rolls, but this is not a tax on their bill. This is not a tax for them.
No,
The
it's
district doesn't, so the district doesn't tax anyone, even though we get money from property taxes.
That's right.
What are those?
We
Just
do not assess, well, no, I mean, we don't assess those. So
what are they called then, if they're not taxes?
This is an assessment.
Right.
The property taxes that we receive from the
Right.
county are property taxes. They
Okay.
are taxes. They just are not taxes that we assess. But I
Okay.
think the language gets a little bit tricky and
Yeah.
I mean, we can probably ask Jeff to explain it better.
Yeah.
But I know that there is, if we are charging in excess of our costs, that could be considered a tax.
Yeah.
Jeff, did you want to say something on that?
I don't know a lot of the history of this Copper Mountain issue, so I am speaking somewhat out of just general knowledge and not specific knowledge. Typically when I see this would have been a Copper Mountain approved special assessment that I believe does go on the property taxes. It's part of the assessment on their property tax roll. It's something they would have voted in on their property when construction was undertaken, in coordination with the district when we formed the Copper Mountain Assessment District to pay for the facilities that were underlying that. But so it is, it's an assessment, a tax. It's kind of the same thing in terms of how the law is structured. That would be an item on their property tax bill when they receive it. It wouldn't be part of the 1% property taxes that you receive, but it would be an assessment, a special assessment on their property tax bill that they would pay with their property taxes.
Yeah, thank you. I would just say that, my grandmother, who was very highly influenced by the Victorian era, used to have a phrase, "Pishaw." She'd say "Pishaw." And, it kind of means like, wait a minute, or that's not good or something. And I would just say that I would prefer to have the right kind of language. I wouldn't want to tell taxpayers, well, the water district doesn't tax you. When it says on their property taxes that we are receiving money from the property taxes, it would frustrate me as a ratepayer for somebody to say that to me. You know what I mean? Because that's what it looks like. So I just would, maybe somebody could coach me on the right kind of language, but I don't want to be in a position where I'm telling the ratepayers, no, we don't tax you. We don't assess the taxes. It's the language there.
It's a bond assessment.
Well, this is,
Yeah.
but in general, when we say that about the property taxes, there are money that we receive from
We
property
receive,
taxes
yes.
that's separate from this.
But we have no control over that. I mean, we have no control over what they are.
I heard you.
Yeah, what they
Yeah.
are taxed, if you will. If we were taxing directly, then we would be controlling, I mean, again.
I just asking for the language. Yeah, I'm just asking for the language in general. Yeah, so I understand what we're doing with this assessment district. I get that. And thank you for explaining that special language that you had regarding what we would be liable for. So thank you for explaining that to me.
And by the way, we were on the property tax bill for a while for the pipeline. We've just been off of that for 3 years now.
Yeah.
But my question to the group would be, those things these assessments and there's a whole menu of these things on a property tax bill, and they are followed by a phone number. And so I was wondering if anybody here has ever called that phone number to see what, I assume it's a robot or something, but to find out, say if it's Copper Mountain Mesa assessment and a phone number, if anybody's ever called the phone number, to see what it says. I never have. I'm curious.
To actually for the standby water availability and the Copper Mountain Mesa Assessment District, I believe that phone number goes to NBS, who is our administrator.
Oh,
That is
Oh.
my understanding, but they refer any questions to us that they cannot field themselves.
Director Fick? No?
No.
Director Charlesburg?
a couple of things. Yeah, on your staff report, you do mention the MBS, which I'm glad that, you just brought it up. So they're doing it. They're taking care of it.
Right.
I did want to point out, well, a couple of things. First of all, do we read the whole resolution into the minutes to make it so that we vote on it when we vote on it? Or is this just attached to the minutes? Does the public hear what we're voting on before we
The
do?
title of the resolution is entered into
Just the title.
Yeah, and
Okay, so the whole title needs to be read though. So the whole title has a typo in it.
it does.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure it was correct. It's the Copper Mountain Mesa Assessment District. It's
District.
missing R.
Oh, I see.
And then I thought really it would be better if the number was kind of highlighted or something, because you got NO dot at the end of the line there, and it just seems like.
The line breaks.
Did break there.
Yeah. So I don't know if that, maybe when you put the R in there, it'll move it over or something.
Okay.
But I just wanted to clarify that, because other boards I've been on where we did resolutions like the city, we had to read the whole resolution into the minutes.
Yeah, we've talked about that before, I think.
In olden times, we did, way back.
Okay.
And
We haven't been doing that.
I'm really glad.
No, I know, nobody wants to do it, but I just wondered if we,
Have the board secretary do it, maybe.
right. It'll be fun. I think, yeah. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to say is I appreciate that the page numbers are listed opposite, on the agenda, opposite the item that we're reviewing, because that helped me figure out what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
Yep, appreciate it.
And that's it.
Okay. Director Short?
And I'm kind of curious on the idea that the district may not be contingently liable. Let's just say hypothetically, this does get litigated and we're not liable for it, who would have to pay the USDA after that? It wasn't us.
If we were not liable, I think the USDA would be out of luck. They would not have any recourse that I'm aware of. This is one of the reasons also that this bond was not refinanced in later years when the interest rates were a little bit lower. Because it was thought that it would be impossible to obtain the same arrangement that we have with this particular bond where it appears we're not contingently liable. That is not what anyone's intention was, I believe, when it was written. And so I think that USDA would be on the hook. But again, that's a legal question and yeah, it would be litigation. I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's all.
And USD is the United States Department of Agriculture, and they have some sort of a small community program for making loans for certain things, that kind of stuff.
Yes. Rural water.
Yes. It's set up for farms, but it's really rural communities. I have a USDA loan for my home, my mortgage.
Me too.
I tell a lot of people about it because a lot of people don't know about it.
Yeah.
And also, there was a reference to someone named Susan. That was Susan Greer.
Oh, yeah.
That's Director of Finance and Roman's predecessor. How long have you been
Right.
doing this while we're on that?
Well, I've been in this position since 2020. However, with the district since 2008.
Thank you very much. I have nothing further on that.
And in another 20 years, you can retire.
Or earlier.
So is there a motion from the board to adopt resolution number 25-1078, please?
No motion.
Thank you very much. A second?
I'd like to read the title, not just the number.
Thought about that too, but then I went, nah. Specifically, the title is the Copper Mountain Mesa Assessment District.
Did we have a motion? We're looking for a second.
Second.
I'll do a second.
Okay. Deal. General Manager Johnston, roll call, please.
President Lowen,
Aye.
Vice President Doodle,
Yes.
Director Fick,
Yes.
Director Jarlsberg,
Yes.
Director Short.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Motion carried. Item is the third fiscal quarter ending March 31, 2025. Financial report. Director of Finance and Roman, please.
Try not to bore you too much with all the financial statistics, but happy to go into as much depth as you would like. I have put together, oops, let me bring my screens. Put together a little slide for us with some summaries on here, and we can always delve into the details as needed. So starting on page, well, let me start first with page 34, which is not on the slide, but just wanted to cover some of the interesting notable items here. Cash balances increasing by 983,000 from 12/31/24. Spending is temporarily down significantly while non-operating revenues continue to exceed expectations. Comparison with the prior year rolling 12 months saw a $4.4 million increase that includes lower spending of almost $2 million. So we have that temporary pause in the pipeline program, and that is really, we're seeing a lot of lower spending because of that. So again, temporary. New meter connections slowed compared to last year at 3/31/24. 25 new meter connections were paid versus 16 this year. The percentage of meters in the wastewater area is also down this year, 64% versus 84% last year. Accounts receivable total Accounts receivable increased 143,000 or 12% compared to last year. The total balance and the 120-day aging bucket or bracket reflect the unusual, excuse me. That's a typo right there too. The unusual bad debt from last year, which we will continue to collect for several years. Bills outstanding slightly fewer days than the same time last year, and that's a positive thing. Investment interest, I won't go into that because I have a whole report on that. And budget versus actual, 75% of the year, total revenues stand at 87% of budget, actual costs stand at 64% of budget. As was the case with last year, non-operating revenues from various sources are up. So for example, property taxes, while spending is down due to a pause in pipeline work. And I do intend for the 6:30 preliminary financials, the next report that I will do, which will probably be in September probably. I will bring a year-over-year comparison of spending, revenue and expenses, so we can, it's not something that we've done before, but we'll do that this year so that we can more closely look at those items. So getting into cash balances, on page 37, cash balances total 23,267,628, of which 5.6 million approximately is legally restricted. 17,410,502 was in LAIF, and 5,241,951 was in CAMP, our new investment vehicle. A cash balance changes graph was included here on page 38, just to give you a little bit of a visual, and you can definitely see there that cash is going up. We know we've talked a lot about why that's happening, and so visually you can see that. This one's not too interesting. I think the other one a little bit later will be a little more interesting. Yeah, questions so far?
Hearing none.
Up to page 38. Any questions?
Yeah.
Right, on the page 36, top 10 consumers, says County of San Bernardino temporary meters. What is that?
So the county does obtain temporary meters from us, hydrant meters for work that they're doing, grading work that they're doing, out in the streets, I guess. So I don't know.
Is this normal?
Periodically we do have those requests from them. So that just happened to be one in which they used a lot of water. So I'm not sure exactly where that location was, what work they were doing, but that's why they do it.
Okay. So they're temporary meters on hydrants.
Yeah.
Is it for grading roads?
Yeah, I think it's for grading.
Is that gonna look something like the one right across the street here that the water delivery guy uses?
I assume so. Yeah, Ray's shaking his head. I'm glad we have Ray here.
Yes.
I had a comment mostly. This report, especially on page 35 and 36, is very tiny print. And I'm wondering if it would improve if you printed, or if you could do it landscape instead of portrait.
Yes.
It might be able to read it a little better.
On page 35 and 36.
Yes, and even 37 and 30.
I was having a problem too.
You have to probably.
But I didn't know if you can do.
Send it onto more pages.
You
So it
can,
would be, yeah.
I know it's in Excel, so what you could do is take a screenshot of it and then print the screenshot, landscape. So
Yeah,
that,
if it's landscape, it spreads it out more.
right, so if it would be an image instead of, this is the Excel spreadsheet you're printing, right? So I'm saying,
It's PDF.
oh, it is a PDF.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you should be able to, you shouldn't have to, anyway, you should be able to make it. You can make one page of,
It's like it's landscape, so I'm confused.
no, ours is,
Oh.
ours is.
No. Oh, yours is.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's fine.
oh, yours is too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That was just
Like
take
7
our-
points or
That's your copy. Okay,
sorry about that.
I was wondering.
Yeah, it's so much easier to read.
Eye strain.
Yeah. It should be though, if you were to look at the electronic copy of it, it
If
should
we
be
printed out ourselves,
legible there. Okay.
we would,
Yeah.
it would come out like that, but
It's posted online the right way. It was just a print issue.
Yeah, I think it was just depending on.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, I will move on to page 39. We can always go back if anything else comes up, but page 39, I've included a new investment report. I thought this would be of interest because, or an interest report. Since we now have the two vehicles that we're using for our investments, Leif and Camp. And this is the first quarter where we have monies in Camp. But it came really at the end of the quarter, so there weren't a lot of earnings in this quarter. Let's start with, on page 39, Leif earned $238,847 in this quarter, whereas Camp earned $3,772. But in the subsequent quarter, the earnings were already over 55,000. So that's just because the monies were transferred near the end of that quarter. Total earnings in the quarter between the two different investments, 242,619. And earnings the fiscal year to date, 479,376. Questions on that?
It's an observation more than a question, but so Leif is 400 days and the camp 60 days?
Do you mean the compounding?
Well,
I mean, the weighted average
the
maturity
duration of the
Weighted average
yeah.
of the investments?
Yeah.
I'd have to look. I'm not positive. Yeah.
Well,
I couldn't say. off the top of
It's
my
more
head.
reactive to the tariffs right now, or the pending tariffs.
Camp is, because we're still invested, we're not invested in term. Term is, has a longer weighted average maturity than the Camp pool that we're invested in, which is the most similar to the Leif product. However, Leif has a longer weighted average maturity. I'm aware of that. I don't know the exact numbers.
Yeah.
But what we're seeing is as interest rates have come down a bit, Leif has actually outperformed, not outperformed,
Right.
but performed better because they have the longer investments than those with the shorter investments.
Right. Yeah. Well,
If that helps at all. All right, I will, no other questions there. I'll move on to the cash flow, which is on page 40. Cash flow source of funds was $2,554,990 and use of funds was $1,571,616, increasing cash by $983,373. Again, low due to lower spending / program pause. We have on page 40, I do have the detail. We can go into that if you like, but I will kind of draw your attention to page 41, which has the cash flow and change in cash balance graph. And so you can see here what I've talked about with the volatility of how the spending occurs versus how the revenues come in. And I just put a couple of points of interest on there back in, is this where you can read it even? I don't know. Is yours, oh, yours is, okay. Hopefully you can see it, but in September of 2023, the pipeline inventory bulk purchase was done, and you can see that 3.74 million in spending there. And then it comes down, it drops down. You can really see how it drops lower than where it had been previously, the spending. Then in December of 2023, I just noted their property tax and assessment revenues received.
Oh, great.
So you can see that peak at 3.83 million of cash received. And again, we see that in December of 2024, 4.16 million in property tax, and not in just in property taxes, but that is when that occurred. So in that peak, we had received property taxes and assessments. That amount is not just from property taxes and assessments. I should clarify that, but You can kind of see there that our revenues are going up slightly and the spending is coming down. And that's what is resulting in the increase to cash. See if I have any other comments on that. I don't think I did. Okay. Questions on any of the cash flow? Did you want to go into any detail on where the revenues came from? Questions? All right. So development activity, backing up a little bit to page 35, I have a summary there, but in in the quarter 4, new connections were paid to the wastewater, 2 upgrades and $71,694 in revenue. This revenue excludes meter install deposits. And previously in our reporting, we were including meter install revenues because they were fees. In December of 2024, the board, sorry, am I losing you?
No, I heard page 35.
35, sorry, 35.
Is that what page one? Okay.
Yeah, on the summary,
Okay.
it's just in the summary. That's the only place I have all of the development in one spot. Let me go into the year-to-date, 16 new connections paid and 10 wastewater included in that, 8 upgrades and $444,374 in revenue. So we did have a change in accounting treatment. When we changed our meter connection from fees to deposits. And as a result, we don't record the revenue immediately. We have to consider those a deposit until we actually reconcile the project and refund any overages that may have been charged within the deposit. And so these revenues that I'm reporting for the development activity may look a little lower than what they did before because we were recording the revenue right up front. This is the appropriate accounting treatment for it. It's just a change. And so I wanted to point that out. Now that I've confused you, questions on that? All right, let me move on to accounts receivable. So we'll go back to page 42. But I promise I won't bounce around too much more for this. Accounts receivable, I mentioned this earlier, has increased, but we are seeing the totals reflecting that large bad debt write-off. So we don't actually write it off until it's uncollectible 4 years later. So it remains in these balances. So, even though the balances look higher, it is because the liens are included and it is because the bad debt is included there. 129,000 in liens and 104,000 in prior year bad debt. We are seeing, though, some good statistics in here. Again, the days the bills are outstanding decreased slightly. And the statistics at the bottom, we have, well, actually, those are very similar, I think, to the prior year. So not big changes there. Not big changes in the aging and not big changes in the lien receivable balances. Those are pretty stable. Questions on accounts receivable?
Well, I'm seeing in the pie chart of the AR accounts receivable for 3/31/25 is 45% in the red, 120 days behind. Is that including the bad debt?
It is.
So how much of that is the bad debt and how much of it is our current customers? I mean,
So if we look at the if we look at the figures up at the top, in the top left box, the total 1,305,000. We would need to reduce that by the 104,000 in bad debt and 129,000 in lien totals. So 233,000, we would have to reduce that. And we would have to reduce the 120-day figure, the 583,000 at the bottom, by the 233,000 as well. So that makes it, where does that put us? To 350-ish, I think. So it actually comes down compared to the prior year if we exclude those lien balances and the bad debt from last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've personally been not late on my water bill too often, but okay, when you don't pay it on time, it's a 10% increase. Correct?
Correct.
Then,
It will not an increase, but it's a one-time charge, and then you mean the late charges?
Mhm.
Yeah. It's a 10%, and then after that, it goes to, I think it's 0.5% a month.
okay.
So I have a question. So Director Fick had called me today and was asking me about this, and it just made me wonder, what kind of creative thinking there is regarding these people that are 120 days, overdue, because that's a large amount of money. What kind of incentives? And then I just had lunch with somebody today, and we were talking about the fact that nobody wants to put their water bill on auto pay, because then you can't see what the charge was very easily. So I'm just going to throw it out there that if you guys see any opportunities where we could have more communication with the ratepayers to let them know what the charge and the payment was, you know what I mean? That they might be more likely to use some sort of auto pay feature. And
Other than their bill.
right, yeah, that's what I mean.
Emails,
Yeah,
things
right.
like
Well,
that.
I've had people ask me for emails before, and I've mentioned it before. But and again, as far as the creative thinking, what the incentives could be, and I realize we can't give away free water, but I don't know, here's a free tote bag if you use, but if, it's thinking about something to do that, so that, because I think that some of these numbers would come down if there were more people obviously on auto pay.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly a good route to go. Having people on auto pay is helpful. I think that we still have some stragglers here from back when
COVID.
when COVID happened.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, so there's still, because we are cutting off for non-payment
Yeah.
actively. And so when we can, that is happening. There are, however, accounts that we can't cut off for non-payment. So those are the inactive locked accounts that, they're often, I actually just had a conversation with Jeff about this today because we're looking into the tax roll option. And
For the liens.
For unpaid or delinquent charges. But there are some restrictions related to that. But those are the biggest in the group of, I haven't seen this year's lien statistics yet, but in the group of bad debt, but in the group of bad debt customers, those particular types of accounts tend to be the majority of them. And it is hard to incentivize them. However, Jeff and I did talk about a strategy today. I emailed Sarah about this earlier too. So, we're looking at some options there. I'm not sure about, other types of incentives. I've heard some conversation on some of my forums about that, but it always comes back to the legality of it. So stuff to think about. But I do think that there's still some leftovers from, we still haven't cleared those off because we still have that bad debt from last year in there.
You may not know this off the top of your head, but what percentage of our customers are on auto pay?
I don't know that off the top of my head, but I think there's a fair amount. I think we do get a lot of participation with that, but I also understand the concern over we have two different options for auto pay. We have through Paymentus, which the customers have to manage themselves. We have auto pay through the district, which it's not via credit card, it's via a checking or savings account. And with those accounts, we do screen those in case there's a high bill, and we remove them from auto pay so that they don't get, hit with a high bill without being aware of that first. However, with Paymentus, they have to self-manage that. But there are a fair number, that are on auto.
There's also a
pay.
number of different ways, not just checking and savings accounts through Paymentus. You can use Apple Pay and PayPal and like a Walmart debit card as well. So there's options there to make it accessible, but.
Yeah, they have a lot of options through Paymentus.
Doesn't the bill come 20 days before you have to pay it?
Yes.
I don't understand why, anyway, I'm not getting it. They do auto
There
pay
are
and-
plenty of people, like Stacy Doolittle, Director Doolittle, who don't look at their charges. You know what I mean? They don't. And and I'm,
That's their issue, I would say,
I have heard-
not the district.
I have heard customers say that they don't open the mail that quickly, so.
there's nothing-
3 weeks before it's due.
Yeah.
Be on vacation. I mean, we had someone last summer who did that. He was a rock
Occasionally.
climber who was gone.
Yeah.
And he had a
and
typical
occasionally-
week and it cost him a lot of money. Well, I'm just saying, so there are people that are fearful of that happening. So that's why they don't get on auto pay.
Well, they do get, they have the option through Paymentus to do what's called a proactive payment. And they will, Paymentus will text them or whatever method they choose, email or text them.
Reminder.
3 days prior to the actual, I think it's 3 days prior, or maybe they can even.
I had no
select-
idea of
Yeah,
that.
there's
That'd be a great thing to promote maybe through the newsletter. I'm glad to know that so I can tell people that.
Yeah, there is a way for them to get notified before Paymentus drafts the auto pay as well. So, yeah.
Maybe a social media post.
YouTube video showing them how to do it too.
Yeah,
People are visual learners. They're not.
That's right. that's right, yeah.
So I have a question. What is the duration from non-payment to the cutoff? Is it 120 days?
No, it's about, I think it's about 90 days, which is why our our deposit is based on a 90-day. So basically
Oh.
3 months of average water bill. Because that's about how long it takes for us to be able to cut off a customer for non-payment.
Okay, and that goes from the 20th day of the month? 90 days from 20th day of the month?
It's, so with 60 days after the due date, they can be, I think if I'm saying this right. So the due date plus 60 days, they can be, subject to cut off at that point. So,
Okay.
so it's a little bit less than 3 months, I think.
10 days less than.
Yeah, well, we notify them. So we notify them on usually they get a tag around the middle of the month, I think, right? And then they have plenty of opportunities
We
before.
have a
they get
calendar.
Off.
We have a calendar to start the calls and start calling.
Yeah, they get a courtesy call, which is not required by the law. They get a letter, they get a tag now, which is required by the law. They get, I think, another call. Are we doing the second calls as well? Yeah, so they get another courtesy call and then they finally get the cutoff tag, once the meter is shut off. So they have a lot of opportunities, calls and letters and tags to be notified of, the impending shut off. But I do understand that, for some customers, they are more accustomed to dealing with things electronically. And we do not send our bills electronically. And I actually just talked to Jeff about this today, not in depth, but one of the ways Jeff and I talked about the fact that the law falls behind with things that change. And one of the things that we see that with is that the law still requires that bills are mailed postage paid, which implies mailed, or says they have to be provided postage paid. So prior legal counsel had advised us we could not eliminate mailing the bills and just send electronic bills. We haven't revisited this topic with Jeff, but the point is that, I think a lot of people are used to more electronic contact and not so much the snail mail. So I understand that, so.
And opting out, like you do with your insurance,
Yeah,
explanation of benefits or
Yeah.
bills and things like that, where they
Yeah.
just send it to you virtually.
I think it'd be good to do both. Not eliminate the paper
right.
personally.
Yeah, so I mean, that's something we.
That's all-
Well, I was just thinking of saving,
It's very expensive.
I was thinking of saving a money, yeah, because you can save money.
74 cents for every mailing.
Yeah. That's a lot.
Well, that's just.
But there are also people that are not online all the time.
Well, we're not saying we would cut it off for everybody. I'm just saying people could opt out. I just don't know. if it's possible.
If they choose.
Yeah, that's it. If they choose to.
Yeah.
Choose to, for sure. Yeah.
I wanted to make just a point of clarification that the process that Anne described is for non-payment lockoffs. There are
Yes.
other lockoffs that are not subject to the same rules as non-payment. So that would be, for instance, if somebody had was supposed to put a backflow device and they didn't. And they have there's a process that we still go through, but it's less restrictive than the non-payment one. Because could be a public issue if there's a backflow event. That's typically the ones that we see. And they do have a noticing process as well.
Okay, other questions, or shall we move on? All right, property tax assessments, we're on page 43 now. We collected year-to-date 1.760 million of 2.43 million, approximately 72%. And if we look at the things that are interesting here to me are the prior collections. So under CMM and under standby assessments, you can see that the prior collections went up for CMM 36% and 4% for standby. So that could be reflective of an increase in property transactions occurring in those areas, especially in CMM.
Yeah, wow.
Seeing a lot more there. And general district taxes, which are the property taxes, those are down a little bit, but nothing to be concerned about there. Questions on page 43? Kind of the usual stuff there. All right, page 44, no budget adjustments. We just went through our whole budget cycle and adopted a revised budget for 24-25 as well as a new budget for 25-26. And so there's nothing to note on page 44.
Is this second fiscal quarter?
I'm sorry, did I miss that?
At the top, budget.
Yeah, that's an error. Or it should say third
You
fiscal.
gotta
quarter.
stay on them, Jane. My goodness.
I know, too many manual updates. Sorry, I type all of these out manually, so.
It's okay.
Except for the pages 46, those are in code, our software.
So the ending date is incorrect also,
It
right?
is.
Yeah.
It is.
You type every single line of all these reports?
Well, I update
The previous.
the previous.
Wow.
ones,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Wow.
Yeah, the only ones that are generated by the software are the ones on pages 46
Yeah.
through 52 or something like that.
Oh, right. Thank goodness.
So a lot of room for error, but I try not to. All right, so moving on to the operating budget versus actual, again, we're at 75% of the year. And our revenues are at 87%, excuse me, or $10,326,193 of the revised $11,934,578 budget. Our total expenses are at approximately 64%, or $5,639,307 spent of the revised $8.774 million budget. So at 75% of the year, revenues are higher than 75%. Did I say 74? 75 is what I meant to say. I don't know what I said.
You said 75.
So Revenues are higher than 75%, expenses are lower than 75%, so those are good things.
Yep.
The average rolling 12-month spending is about 1.88 million below a year prior. So again, same situation that we kind of keep coming back to. Total revenues exceed total expenses by 4,686,886 at 3/31, and these funds, those excess funds, you know, we don't know what the year, how the year is going to end yet. Well, we are starting to, because we're starting to work on the fiscal year end. But in these reports, as of 3/31, we don't quite know how the year is going to end yet. And so these revenues that exceed total expenses cover capital costs, depreciation, and reserve funding. And as I mentioned earlier, I will bring a comparison of the revenues and expenses with the 6/30 financial report. So here, also on page 45, so I've been talking about in general, the top section. The bottom section is just our rolling check register totals for 12 months, and you can see that fluctuation again. Although we've had fewer of the high check registers. And on pages 46 through 49, we have the detail of all of the general ledger accounts that go into this operating budget versus actual. Nothing notable that I've marked there to discuss. I'm seeing there's a couple of accounts that are getting a little bit on the high side. There's some accounts that are on the low side. In the end, you know, at the end of the year, we really tend to focus on the budget overall, more so than, you know, these slight overages or underages, if that's a word. So we, you know, we're not too concerned there about anything, or I'm not too concerned about anything that I'm seeing there. Questions on pages 45 through 50. All right, we'll move on to consumption, which is our last section. Consumption is up, so page 51. Consumption is up 8.59% from the prior year,
Oh,
down.
that's not, we're supposed to be conserving, right?
For revenue, but
Yeah,
Yeah, I know. Hmm,
it's not. Yeah. Well, it's down 12.49% from 2 years prior.
okay,
So
okay,
it's up for the 1 year, but down from 2 years. And over the 2 years, it's an increase of 4.97%. So not too much. Average consumption revenues per unit have decreased 10.84% from the prior year and increased 13.37% from 2 years prior, which is a 2-year increase of 1.08%. So revenues per unit seem to reflect the recently paused rates. As we saw those go down, we saw that revenue down for last year to this year comparison. With the top 10 consumers consumption rankings here, we have a lot of the usual ratepayers included. And we already talked a little bit about the county of San Bernardino there with the temp meters. That may actually be more than one. I see I made that plural.
It's impossible to see.
It's.
Yeah.
Can't read it?
yeah.
Okay, so there were several temp meters then. Comparative statistics on vacation rentals, if that's of interest. 23 units for
That's the,
the quarter, 8 for the month,
oh, yes.
compared to 24 units for the quarter for all customers versus 8. There's some rounding in there.
I know you're at the end of your report, but it would have been great if you pulled up this PDF since all of us can't read it. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, that would be really great. Yeah, that's okay. I mean, I wouldn't be against that in the future even.
Is it tiny too?
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it is.
really, yeah, it's really tiny. Oh, thank you.
Printed
Whoever gave me this.
Printed side, yeah, like. I-
If we print it home, it comes out right.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, I don't have that page.
That's okay.
On my slideshow, but I can certainly point some of these out to you if you'd like.
Well, we can pause and we can go print a few copies if you like.
Well, no, I'm just saying, can't you call up the PDF? You can share the PDF.
If you go to the website and go to our agenda packet.
But you don't have to. We're on the last page. We're on the last page of this, aren't we?
We are.
Yeah, so
Maybe
I can't wait to get to Ray's
for
report.
the next quarter.
This kind of all routine stuff, but
Yeah.
I do have the agenda packet. Just let me, I can bring it up really quick. And then I can share that.
But now you have the input for the next quarter though.
Yeah,
So
Yeah, right. If we could,
Well,
just be more.
for the people that are online, it'd be nice for them to see it.
While Anne's doing that, I'll help give her voice a break. And just because I find it interesting and it seems to come up when we go over this, but the Quail Springs Village Apartments, there's 75 units there. However, they do have a pool and spa. So they're 9.4 units per household per month, I think is a little skewed because it's not strictly just housing.
Right.
Same or similar with the Lazy H Apartments, there's 65 housing units there. That comes out to about 4.7 units per household per month. Yucca Trail Apartments, there's 50 housing units there. And that's 5 units per household per month. And Evoke 20 or Evoke Modern LLC, there are 20 units there, but there's also a clubhouse and a pool. So their average per household is about 10.8 units. Again, I think that's probably realistically about 7 or 8.
But they're not emptying the pool and filling it.
Doesn't this seem like a lot?
Often, are they?
A lot?
I'm a fan of
Evacuation, yeah.
we use like 9 or 10. Sometimes 12 units.
Oh, okay.
Especially when you have teenagers.
Yeah.
So Yvonne,
They're routinely on this list, but it's relatively, I mean, the district average on here is 8.
Yvonne has a clubhouse?
That's what I read on their website.
Where is this?
Which one was it?
Yeah, where is this?
Which one is it?
Saw it earlier.
Can you tell us where Evoc is, Autumn?
We don't have your.
Best for them?
Yes.
sorry.
Um,
Evoc,
oh,
EVO,
yeah,
There it
the
is.
third one.
Evoque.
There it is.
I don't know how you say it.
Yeah, where is that?
So don't they?
I don't know where that is. Or maybe they
Oh.
changed their name.
In multiple
Or not.
locations. Sure.
Oh, okay, it's all rolled up into one. Okay, maybe that's why.
Yeah.
I'll look into that one in more detail.
The new one. A clubhouse in a residential zone, that's kind of strange.
I'll find out exactly what.
I really appreciate all this.
I just looked.
Here you go.
Done it the last couple of times, but they're fairly new to this list.
Yeah, they are.
One of the newer
I don't
entrants.
think we've seen them before.
Nope.
So yeah, so we have the, let me zoom in on.
But vacation rentals.
That's that little
you-
markup.
Wasn't it? I had
Yeah, there you go.
seen that in here.
I can't help it.
Oh, no, right here?
Yeah.
This was on the last one as well.
Oh, it was? Okay.
All right, so we have the usual High Desert Medical Center, Quail Springs Village, JT Parks and Rec. And you can see on comparison, this is a quarter on the left side, these columns on the left side in the color. On the right side, we have the quarter for this quarter ranking. And then we have the fiscal year 23-24 and 22-23 for comparison. But those are full years. The 23-24 and 22-23, those are full years, whereas these other numbers are just quarterly. But it looks like, you know, we're down with those. From what I can see, just based on the totals this quarter. Of course, the quarters aren't all equal though. So, you know, this could be a low quarter and then we run into summer and that could be a higher.
Right, right.
So, and again, vacation rentals, 23 units versus 24 and customers, average, all customers. And not a lot of, other than that, Evoke I don't see a lot of changes here from, they sometimes land in different positions on this list, but they just are very close usually from quarter to quarter. Questions about,
Well, I guess the board could enact a policy where we ask the district to go out and visit some of these places that seem to have, really high usage, right? I mean, usually we don't do that unless it's a leak situation, but some of these places, there may be something going on that, that just doesn't make sense, that amount of consumption for mobile homes or whatever. And even without a pool, some of these places are really high.
You mean, they're not reading the
newsletter?
no, the postings that Kathleen's doing. The conservation,
Oh, you mean the ads?
the ad,
Oh, okay.
yes.
Okay, yeah, anyway, so I'm just, that's something to put on that very long list of things that maybe the board would want to consider doing. It just seems like it would be a good
I
idea.
think what David just described is that while it looks like a lot here, when you divide it out by household, it's actually falls right within our average of what any single family residence uses. So
I thought he was saying that it was high. Oh, it's average.
it's all average.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
I would love to be able to go investigate, trust me.
Well,
Some of these.
I keep losing it, but there's a note in here, or there's a line about the number of door tags.
It's on the back. It's on the back. Yeah, right in the middle. Door hangers delivered. Yeah,
Yeah, there's an average for it and all that. It's okay.
right.
So anyway, that is an evidence to me that we're making an effort to go out there and actually physically look at stuff and contact people and all of that. I mean, it indicates how many of them there have been and what the average is and all that other kinds of stuff. So we're not just going by our computer screens and stuff. We are actually physically going out and putting tags on people's doors. So that's productive. I still can't find it.
Well, I'll add to you when we get there.
It was an add-in, so it might be underneath. There.
See,
I
It's on the
didn't
last
about the vacation rental number.
Here, it's
I mean, I'm
that's
right here.
sure what we're looking at.
Door hangers delivered.
so the vacation, oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I see what you mean by
I
that.
think this was added in maybe a year ago or so when the question came up that
Yeah.
CRs were maybe consuming more water than
Right.
residential accounts.
Like the number is 23. Is that the number? That's only 23.
That's,
That's the units per quarter.
yeah, that's an average of 23 units per quarter.
Per
Usage.
per vacation rental. It's not the number of vacation rental.
No, it's number of units.
Okay, that's what I'm,
This is consumption statistics still, and so it's the number of units consumed compared with all customers who came in around 24 units
Right.
per quarter. So they're a little bit lower. They actually bring down the average of all customers.
would think
Yeah.
they're not there full time.
Yeah.
Okay.
They just use a lot when they're there.
Oh, sure.
There are some that are higher.
They do,
users.
don't they?
Down there,
Overall,
big
yeah.
cowboy tubs.
So this year, the average per month of these door hangers, for the first 6 months, per month, we're doing 157 of these things. So that's some pretty due diligence, I think, in terms of going out and making that contact people.
Mm,
Which is not gonna involve talking to references, referrals, programs to help them with payments and all those other kinds of stuff that could be happening. Then who does that, by the way?
The hangs, the door hangers.
Field service tax.
Sarah does that on the weekends.
I have been out there with Kathleen in the past.
Yeah. It has to get done. It has to get done.
Change toilet paper too.
Any other questions about consumption statistics or anything in the 331 financial report?
Do we have any public comment out there in TV land?
Chased them all away.
It's just Ann and Jeff.
Yeah,
Yep.
I guess they. So if nothing further, is there a motion from the board to approve the third quarter financial report ending March 31, 2025?
So moved?
A second.
I'll second.
Thank you very much. General Manager Johnson, a roll call, please.
President Fluen,
Aye.
Vice President Doolittle,
Yes.
Director Fick,
Yes.
Director Jarlsberg.
Yes.
Director Short.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Motion carried. The next item is Mojave Water Agency Strategic Partners Program Award. District tours from groundwater to tap water. And that's General Manager Johnson, please.
All right, I'll give Ann a little bit of a break here.
Yeah.
My battery's So I'm gonna try to speak up. First, before I talk about this, I want to make a point of clarification. Earlier, when Vice President Doolittle talked about last year's grant, when we brought this to the board, you were correct. I was incorrect. We did not bring to you who we were going to partner with for that conservation ad. So I apologize for that. We brought to you a list of what we were going to do, but not who we were going to do it with.
Oh,
So-
okay.
Anyway, we didn't apply for that one this year. This year we applied for the district tours, which I think each of you been on district tours before? They are a big hit and we're happy to bring them back.
Yes.
So this amount of $3,200 is what Mojave Water Agency has awarded us. We think that should cover all the expenses associated with renting the bus and the insurance and the little goodie bags. It doesn't account for staff time. It's something that we're always proud to do. And if the board has any questions, I'm happy to answer any.
I have something. I went on it. I thought it was excellent. I was very impressed with it. But I really must insist that when a board member attends, that we are given a moment to speak. We are the public facing part of the agency and we need to get up and say something.
I'd be happy to have that happen.
Okay, thank you.
Good idea.
For those who are not too shy to do it.
I didn't hear all of that. Did you? We're suggesting that I wasn't allowing people to speak?
No, I was saying on the tour, on the
Okay.
tour bus.
Okay.
That, you know, at least they,
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I think we've been recognized, but I think we should just get up and, you know, say, welcome to the tour or something like that, either tossing it to the people, introducing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Be the first people to speak or something like that. I don't know that we have to, you know, give them statistics or anything.
Give me the
like that.
mic. You can-
No, you guys do a great job and it's not any knock on what anybody's doing. It's just a matter of,
Just so they know who the board is on.
yeah,
And,
you know, yeah, so they can
Oh.
come and talk to us and, yeah.
Yeah.
And you'll have shirts to represent.
Oh, yes, we will. That'll be
Do you
good.
have a timing of it?
It'll be next calendar year. We're still working on timing, but we're estimating around spring.
And I do have a couple questions. Did they give us a full grant amount or was this less than what we requested?
That's about,
Okay.
that's for.
35. Oh, okay.
And I can tell you, I know how they award, and if they really like what we're doing, they just shave a little off. If they're going to just say, well, I guess they really want to do this, but then they'll just give us 50%.
Oh.
I'm very pleased.
Oh, good,
by-
good.
And the last time we did this, which was like 2 or 3 years ago, right? Did we pay for it ourselves or did they?
Did.
Okay.
Did.
Okay, well, no, I think it's an outstanding thing and I'm surprised we can do it for that small of amount of
Yeah,
money.
me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the goodies.
Ours was better than MWA's too. I went on their tour. It was kind of a short one.
Yeah, that was not,
I went on it and I thought it was great,
Well,
but
it was a-
you got a different
but
one.
this would be a great, I wish that we had some money in here to videotape it and then have someone edit it and put it online.
Right, right.
Because that would be a really great thing to have on the website.
Yep.
It wouldn't take the place of it, but it would just give people another opportunity to learn about. Maybe we could do that. Maybe there's some, you know, money somewhere we could find for that.
Everybody's got a.
We've done iPhones, so.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that'd be great. Doesn't have to have high production value.
Dr. Fick, anything further?
in regards to,
This award. Director Jarlsberg?
No, I'm just happy to see it's being funded.
Yeah.
Director Short?
No questions.
Is there a motion from the board to approve and accept the Mojave Water Agency District Tours from Groundwater to Tap Water Award?
We'll make the motion.
We have-
I'll second.
Thank you very much. General Manager Johnson, a roll call, please.
President Flynn,
Aye.
Vice President Doolittle.
Yes.
Director Fick,
Yes.
Director Jarlsberg. And
Yes.
Director Short.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Operations report for information purposes only. No action will be taken. Conferring an interim director of operations, Ray Foley, please.
Well, good evening, President Flowin, Vice President Doolittle, members of the board. I appreciate the opportunity to talk operations, which is a passion of mine. And I could talk for hours, but I'll keep it. I wanted to put together, as the board knows, I've been here for about 7 months. And I just wanted to put together a brief report on some of the daily activities that the two departments perform on a daily task. So with that, just a little background, as the board is aware, the Scotts Basin Water District was formed in 1973, which included the acquisition of a small water system that was constructed in 1937. And by 1966, the district acquired and integrated 8 small existing water systems. Currently, the district service area encompasses 96 square miles, which, a little fun fact, that's 1/10 the size of Rhode Island. Put some of that in perspective. Approximately 5,600 service connections. The district ranges in elevation from about 2,900 feet above sea level to 4,500 feet above sea level. Water conveyance is completed by 5 groundwater wells, 300 miles of pipeline, 17 reservoir storage tanks with a capacity of 12.3 million gallons, 12 booster stations that control 29 separate pumps, 12 pressure reducing stations controlling pressure in 11 separate pressure zones, 3,500 valves and 1,426 fire hydrants, which also include valves. The valves are about 5,000. Operations includes 2 separate departments, production department and the maintenance. Production department is in charge of pumping the water out of the ground into the reservoirs and the water quality that's associated with that. Maintenance department is in charge of the maintenance of the water pipelines and customer service related activities like meter reading and door hangers that we've been talking about. Some of the other things that a production staff conduct on a daily activities include site inspections, check for proper operational functions of critical infrastructure. This is how we discovered the well 15 issue several months ago, just by doing our daily checks. Collect and analyze water samples, perform preventative maintenance tasks on scheduled time cycles with our booster pumps. Ensure water quality meets standards throughout the distribution system. Water level sounding measurements, exercise emergency generators, perform cross-connection control inspections, and prepare required reports that are submitted to the State Water Board. On the maintenance side, there's daily tasks that include read water meters or respond to or repair water leaks, conduct routine maintenance on distribution system valves and fire hydrants, perform utility locating and marking, distribute customer door hangers, and perform vehicle and heavy equipment maintenance. So I just wanted to put together on that back page of this report, it's just a quick summary again of some of the daily tasks and some comparisons to the same time period. And what we're talking about is calendar year versus fiscal year. So calendar year from January 1 to June 30. Dig alert tickets are when somebody calls in the USA dig alert when they're going to dig, call before you dig, so we can do the utility markings.
Wow.
January to June, we did 733 this year. We averaged 122 per month. And if you look at that last column compared to the same time period in 2024, there was 58. So there's quite a bit more activity that there's variables there, that there's dig alert tickets that come in from outside contractors and dig alert tickets that we generate. Total service orders. Service orders include turn on a service, turn off service, read only, verified read, check usage. In the 6 months of this calendar year, 2,339 service orders, averaging 390 per month. In comparison, same time period last year, 377. So pretty consistent. Service lines replaced, 33 for this past 6 months. We're averaging 6. Comparison, last year 4. Meters replaced, this really has to do with the meter replacement program. So the last 6 months, 480 meters, averaged about 80 per month. And when the program was going on the same time last year, it was approximately 89.
Which is completed now.
Which
Yeah.
is completed now. So if we include this line item in future reports, the number is going to be very low. It's all you're going to see is meters replaced, maybe because of damage or something like that. Service line leaks repair 39. Again, you see the averages 7 and then 12. What I really like, and it's exciting for me because we've been working on this, the distribution system valves exercise. So for the first 6 months, we've done 630 valves, which is 105 a month. And when you look at the comparison for the same time period the year before.
Wow, I know. I was looking at that.
So this is a program that we've really been working on and which really pays dividends when we do have those leaks, which I'll talk about later on in the evening, how that pays dividends on how we can get something shut off in a timely manner. New service lines installed. Again, these are new services, 14 for the first 6 months, pretty much identical to last year, the averages. Door hangers, and a lot of discussion about door hangers. I want to clarify the door hangers that I'm talking about here are only the door hangers we're delivering for the reminder to pay your bill before it gets locked off. So 944 for the first 6 months, averaging about 157 per month. Comparison to the year before, you can see it's up. Non-payment for lock costs, pretty consistent in comparison to last year. Water quality samples, first 6 months, 1,127. I want to point out that there's a typo. That's my fault on this. It's not 257, it's 187 average per month. And again, you can see that's consistent with last year's same time period. Water level measurements, this is when we go out and we sound our wells to determine what the static and pumping water levels are, which gives us information on the condition of that well. State Water Resources Control Board reports. There's been 22 generated for the first 6 months. It's about 4 average per month. And again, that's consistent. These are required reports. Some of the other interesting statistics here are first 6 months, we produced 599.108 acre feet of water, which equates to 195,309,208 gallons for the first 6 months. Average is about to be 100 acre feet or 1 million per month. In comparison to the same time last year, 109. Again, you have to remember that we're talking calendar year, not fiscal year, and sometimes that doesn't coincide when we're talking fiscal. And this is there's a lot of variables here, weather, humidity, swamp coolers, that's really the big driving force a lot of times with these things. But on this line item, it does show there is some conservation measures hopefully taking place. Our daily average demand, we're averaging, for the last 6 months, we've reduced 3.3 acre feet, which basically comes out to a 1 million gallon per day average is what we extract out of the ground to meet the demand. So again, just some brief statistics. These are just the daily, everyday activities. It doesn't include, the leaks that we have to break off to and some of the other projects that we do that are kind of out of the ordinary. It's been an adventure, like I said, the last 6 months. I think we've been able to make some improvements. We still want to improve on a lot of other things. But I think we're making some progress. We talked about in Ann's report earlier, it was one of the line items for some clay valves in the tune of $12,000. These are pressure reducing valves that the district has approximately 11 pressure reducing stations. And this takes the pressure, reduces the pressure as that elevation changes, as I talked about. You have a big elevation change throughout the district. So for every 100 foot of elevation change down, it's increasing 43 pounds. So you have to have these pressure reducing stations to reduce the pressure so you don't over pressurize the pipeline and cause leaks. Where we're finding some of the, one particular pressure reducing station was in need of a lot of repair. So we made a decision to buy 2 brand new valves. And the valves that we took out, we're gonna rehab and just kind of have like this program. We'll put those in the next, take those out, rebuild those and have that type of program. So again, just some brief statistics. I'd be happy to answer any questions the board may have for me.
What's the average pressure in the lines?
It's about 90 pounds. So we average about 90 pounds throughout the district. In some places it's lower, some places it's higher, but the average is about 90 pounds per square inch in their main line.
And then,
President Doolittle?
Thank you. So do we know, and this is probably more a question for Mr. Shook, Director Shook, what's the average cost of a service order? Like, I see total service orders. I just wonder if we had an average cost of it. Anyway, interesting question. So don't spend 3 hours finding the answer. So so I was really glad to see this about the system valves. General Manager Johnson had shared that with us. So I'm really glad to see that was done. And in my neighborhood, I've seen the hydrants have been painted and then the valve covers have been painted. I've noticed that with walking my dog. But are some of them are painted, the valve cover, isn't that what those covers are? And so, but they're different colors, like what are the 2 different colors and what do they mean?
There's 2 different colors, red and blue. Blue means it's a valve that it's on.
Oh.
Red means it's a valve that's closed and.
Oh.
Because that's the difference between pressure zones. So if you open up that valve, it's sending higher pressure water to a different pressure zone and you can cause damage. So it's a quick visual for the operators in the field to say, okay, that's not the valve I'm looking for.
Yeah. So, and when you came here, did you find that none of those had been done? Because I'd never seen that anywhere before.
They were being done, but if you look at the numbers, 30 per month versus 105 per month. We definitely weren't doing as many, a year ago.
Yeah.
So it may not be so visible when
Okay.
you're out there driving around.
One of the other things that Ray has instituted is a daily work schedule. So everybody comes in and it usually goes out for the whole week. So that everybody knows what they're assigned to. And this allows these programs to move a little bit more smoothly because they know what they're up against for the next day.
Okay, all from me. Thank you.
okay, who runs the SCADA system? Is it?
The SCADA system, this is the production department.
Production.
Yes, that's the production department. So that's the SCADA stands for supervisory control and data acquisition. So the control of the wells and boosters and the data collects. That's what SCADA, the acronym, is for. Okay. So the production department on a daily basis looks at the SCADA system, looks for abnormalities and reacts accordingly.
And they live and die by that system.
Yep.
I was out to dinner with my family a few weeks ago and one of our operators who was on call, he was there with his family having dinner with his iPad open and calls.
Oh.
They were coming in alarms.
Yeah, this district has a very complex SCADA system with a lot of features, security features, which is very good. But with that comes some anomalies that, you have to deal with time to time.
Now we have 5 wells. How many pressure systems do we have? We don't have 5 pressure systems, do we?
We have 11 different pressure zones. 11? Yeah.
11.
Yeah, 11 different pressure zones. So even though you may only have 5 wells to retrofit, once it gets to the reservoir and then a gravity feeds down, it could be feeding multiple pressure zones. So you feed the reservoir and then the reservoir gravity feeds the system through pressure reducing stations.
Okay, just a side observation I made is that these AI data processing plants use about 1,200 acre feet of water a year to cool them, which is equivalent to what we do out here.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's amazing.
From time to time, I hear about the term water year. which may end in September or something like that. Is there any benefit to, because you mentioned that there's either fiscal or calendar option, but I heard that there's an expression water year.
Not familiar with that, but to your point, depending on what report we're doing that for state, some require fiscal, some require
Right.
calendar. So there's multiple different facets to these reports, and although some are redundant, there are required reports that we do, but again, some are based on calendar year, fiscal year.
Can you speak to the leak we had in the last week?
Yeah, I was saving that for my report at the end, but I'll be glad to talk about that.
I just have a question on the summary. Before you do that, I want to hear that. Couple of things I was not able to make the tour this past time. I took a tour before I was on the board, and I think it's changed a bit. But I remember one of the things that was very interesting was the SCADA, going in that room and having somebody review it and, tell us how it worked and stuff. So I wondered is that still on the tour?
Yes.
Going in that room
You're
and,
just not allowed to photograph it.
oh, yeah, no, I don't want to photograph. In terms of the summary, I had a question about the dig alert tickets. Because of the more than double of them from one year to the next for the 6-month period, I wondered if that indicates more issues where dig alerts need to be happen, or is it more development where they're actually doing something new?
Both and all the above.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're seeing more activity that's coming in from, contractors or other utilities like Edison, Caltrans.
Okay.
And we're also generating more because we're trying to do more and more maintenance.
And maybe it's maybe paying more attention to the need for these things, which has been an issue, I guess, in the past.
It is variable. Something like that is very variable and it's
Yeah.
dependent on the outside,
Right, right. But the trend, it'll be good to see what the next 6 months hold.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, that brings about a topical issue. I saw that Caltrans is doing the proper job on Highway 62 and Section 33 after their contractor Yahoo went ahead and didn't do a dig alert and drilled into
Right.
the Mojave Water Agency pipeline. Now comes the question, I assume Mojave Water Agency pipe, the agency is responsible for that pipe until it gets to us, or we're responsible for it?
We are, we're responsible for it from the turnout where it comes off Old Woman Springs or the turnout in Yucca Valley, where it goes to Yucca and it comes to us, and we're responsible for it where it comes to us.
Okay, and so our district fixed that pipe?
We are working on that right now with an external contractor.
But we're getting reimbursed, right?
We are going to submit invoice to Caltrans for reimbursement.
Yeah.
I did notice the contractors who were doing it before, but I saw that there were Caltrans trucks doing that right now. So I guess they dismissed that earlier crew and did it themselves.
Well, we've been in contact with Caltrans, trying to work with it. Caltrans is a tough agency, I'll be honest, to work with and communicate with. But we're trying to collaborate with them to coordinate our repair with their remaining work. We've had some delays in getting that outside contractor. We finally got the contract signed for them to do it. Now we're working with Caltrans. We have to submit a traffic control plan because we're gonna have to shut down one of the lanes.
Oh,
So there's delays that come along with that. But yes, to your point, there was no dig alert tickets called in for that.
right.
So, we're working on that issue. But we're hoping to have that fixed real soon because they are planning on doing some paving in that area, Caltrans. So they're putting up that big digital billboard and they're going to be putting in, I think they call it an MVP. It's a maintenance vehicle path where that way they can have equipment come in, set up with a boom truck and service that digital billboard sign.
And what is that digital billboard going to do?
That I cannot answer. Maybe tell people not to dig there.
Stay away.
Yeah, so we're working on that project. Yeah, it's, frustrating for me. Sometimes these things take so long, but unfortunately, some of the things are out of our control.
Yep.
We're hoping to have that fixed soon because we do want to start taking water from the state water project, so.
So how long have we had that big truck that services the valves and tests them and records torque numbers and such?
I don't know when that was purchased. It was here, prior to my arrival. I think the district has had it for 2 years.
It's been a while.
I'm just wondering if the increase in the number of maintenance, individual maintenance of these things increased when we got that as opposed to somebody with a T-handled.
No, it's scheduling and structuring of the program that's basically the key to getting these numbers up.
I still enjoyed that demonstration of that we had out in the street that one day.
Mhm.
So getting back to your, would you like me to talk about that leak now?
Please,
Any more questions about that report?
did you?
No,
So yeah, as many of you, I'm sure have heard, and last week on July 19th at approximately 4:45 p.m. when about 15 minutes where everybody was getting off. District was receiving many calls about a leak located at the intersection of La Crescenta and Center Avenue. After arriving on scene, staff determined that it was the infamous transmission main that at this point is a 16-inch transmission pipe that apparently had the leak was originating from that pipe. Shutdown procedures began. Additional staff was called in. Basically, everybody was called in. All hands on deck for this. To assist with the repair. Due to the depth of the pipe, which is approximately 12 feet in that area, and the complexity of the repair, the crew worked throughout the night. I got back, I left there about 11:30. Got back to the shop about 6. They were coming in about 7 a.m. So they worked diligently through the night. It's a very long process because of the depth. At that point, the soil is very soupy and muddy, which challenges.
Yeah.
You have to open up a very large hole to make that ditch safe. So when they're down there, it doesn't cave in. So it's very time consuming. I think they removed the damaged pipe at about 1 p.m. And about 3:30 in the morning, they were making what we call the closure, meaning the new pipe was put in and it was being closed and completed. So again, throughout the night, the good news, if there's any positive spin to this, is that we didn't have any customers out of water.
Right.
So we were able to isolate that pipe due to the valves that are accessible and operating properly, that we were able to isolate that section of pipe so we didn't have anybody out of water, which in theory, you really shouldn't have anybody off a transmission main anyway. We were able to also figure out a way, because we knew this was going to take a long time. We lost about 17 feet of water, and I believe it's C2B reservoir. I'm still getting my numbers and terminology correct. So we were down at a critical low level where we could have had a lot of people out of water.
17 acre feet of water?
No, 17 feet, which was about 600,000 gallons of water loss.
Wow.
And that whole entire
Oh.
20-foot section of pipe was split across the bottom.
Was it metal or plastic?
No, it was plastic PVC C900 pipe, which again, to my understanding, the district has had issues with this pipeline for some years
Yeah.
now.
How thick is that pipe? I mean,
If you have it, it's about 3/8 inch thick, I think, 3/8. It's a very thick pipe.
And why is it so deep? 12 feet?
That I can't answer. I don't know why when that was installed back in whatever year was that deep. Typically you put a transmission line deeper than your distribution, so the distribution goes over the top,
Yeah,
but not 12 to 20.
that is crazy.
30 feet at the last.
It's scary.
And the cost to install that. is also a huge increase when that was done years ago. So I don't know why.
Could some of the depth be accumulation of new sand over the years to make it higher? Not enough for that, okay.
Bringing that in here, wow.
So we were able to, taking a look at the hydraulic gradient maps, we were able to take water through a pressure zone from a higher pressure zone, take that water through into the C zone where the leak was, and we were able to keep everybody in water
Yeah,
while the leak was.
that was amazing.
there. And then we actually gained some water in the reservoir. So that was a really good decision and investigation we did when that was going on that allowed us to keep, basically everybody in water. So that was the good news.
Yes.
Yeah,
Again, if there's any positive spin to it, that was the good news.
That's great.
So I would really like to publicly thank Jesus Ruiz, Joey Vincent, Justin Tuttle, Kenny Ware, Spencer Lehman, David Shook for being out there all night. Sarah was out there, she mentioned earlier,
Yep.
to about 10:30. I was out there at about 11:30. I also want to thank other members of the staff for your support of the crew. That really means a lot. And some of the positive feedback we received was for that team effort was really heartfelt. And, for me, just to kind of sit back and observe when I was out there and just noticing what I was noticing was very positive. The crew worked so good together and teamwork. And it was really nice to see that. It was really refreshing. So again, for me, being an ops guy, I love that kind of stuff. So that was really good. But again, I just wanted to publicly thank that crew that really worked their butts off all night.
And how is it lit at night?
So we have lights on the equipment, like the backhoes and some of the trucks. One of the things we kind of took away from that is like, what could we do better? When we have a job like that, you sit down, what were the negatives, what were the positives? We could possibly in the future buy a light tower that you're able to deploy, set up that light tower. And we all seen them probably.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
That could come very handy for many jobs.
yeah, the dark desert, yeah.
Yeah, so it was lit up pretty good. It was a safe environment. Could it be better? Absolutely. And could we use something like that in the future for other jobs? Absolutely.
Did y'all use the Pettibone?
Pardon me?
Did y'all use the Pettibone?
We did not use the.
Oh, you didn't know, okay, I didn't know if that was a digger. Oh, okay.
A bunch of vehicles, dump trucks. And then to your point, I think someone mentioned that we still have some cones around that leak. Due to the depth of the leak and the saturation of soil, it takes a long time for it to dry out. They call that pumping. So when you run it over, it's squishy and the water comes up. So it's going to take quite a long time for that to dry. So we're monitoring that and we'll fix that portion of the road when that.
Is it a dirt road out there? I'm
It
not.
is a dirt
Yeah.
road.
Yeah, I'm trying to think Center and La Contenta,
Yeah.
what that is.
Or like this-
La Crescenta,
Yeah.
got it. I
Yeah,
kept trying to think, that was my neighborhood, yeah, La Contenta, I got it.
South of La Brisa.
Your neighborhood, oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, it's south of Lisa, okay.
So, the bigger question is why? Why is this happening?
Yeah.
Why has it happened so many times? The answer is, I don't know. We're ordering some more pressure equipment. We don't think it's pressure, but we want to rule it out. And we need some equipment to do that. Could it be defective pipe? Maybe. My gut is just the installation of that pipe.
Yeah,
And when you think about a 20-foot joint, 12, 20 feet deep, and typically when you install a pipe, you put a pad on one end of the pipe and a little soil pad that
Mhm.
supports it. But if you don't shade or put dirt underneath that center section and you backfill it, it
Oh,
blows.
right.
Yeah.
And that creates a stress point.
It's like a straw that bends, right?
Correct. And with that particular pipe, the splits have been on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to be a pattern, during the evening hours, which you could question, okay, there's a high usage, everybody's coming home, they're showering, but most likely not. But we want to kind of rule that out with some of the equipment that we're going to put out there to monitor some of those things. I really think it's installation tactics or,
Is there-
Did you say when it went in the ground? I mean, do you know when?
Approximately the 90s.
In the 90s, okay, I didn't hear whether,
yeah.
so it has been in a long time.
So that's my kind of gut on why it could be happening,
It was, it's been talked about that it could be an overstabbing issue. And also, that's kind of a hilly area there too, and if you have kind of like a sine wave kind of thing in the pipe, it could be that it doesn't flex as well, expand and contract. As well as it would if it was just a straight pipe. But we might have even had that trouble when it popped over at right in front of well 14 over there too, where it was coming down off the,
Mm.
and you know, the pipe there was 25, I think, down at that point.
That is the same line,
Yeah,
and it's gone it's been almost annually between end of June, beginning of July, about 4:45 in the afternoon.
Oh, okay. Set the alarm, set the, yeah.
Yeah, there's some consistency with, really not sure why,
Mm.
does the ground move, expand and contract with heat? Yes, maybe that's a factor. You don't know. But I really do think it's some kind of installation issues and that causes that. So, but again, just appreciate staff here.
That they were safe.
Yeah, that's the key. You're always
Oh, totally.
And then you worry about, getting tired and when you're tired, accidents happen.
Yeah.
Right, but no, the guys really worked well together and they were really proud of themselves for accomplishing something that complex.
Significant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so, there's good people out there and they know what they're doing. So I appreciate that, and again, I can appreciate that. So that's my report about the league.
nothing further. I think we can move to that for information on it. We're up to reports and comments. For informational purposes only on subjects not covered by the agenda. The opinions of individual directors are not necessarily the opinions of the board staff. No action will be taken. The board may provide staff with requests for future agenda. Vice President Doolittle, please.
I just have a few things. One is when I looked in Outlook today, at the email for the agenda, the board meeting, it said that the address was non-verified and it had an exclamation point by it. So I guess somebody else has seen that as well.
In your JBWD.
Yes, it said your email to us, or the JBWD email.
Talk to Lisa about it.
Okay,
To right click on it and make it a safe sender.
is that what we need to do?
Yeah, it's coming from Stream.
Well, that's new. It's,
Yeah, we.
That's just started.
Upgraded to
Okay.
Windows 11, so I imagine it's.
okay.
Oh.
It does have a feature, yeah. Okay, all right. And then I wanted to say that, it was nice to see that there was a social media post regarding the leak, and I've just encouraged you guys it was nice to see that there were 8 people that responded to that, you know what I mean? Because I monitor how many people respond to the posts, and I hope that there's going to be some paid posts in the future. Because then once you pay into the system, they start showing it to people more, your non-paid ones. So I attended the Mojave Water Agency meeting on July 10th, and I'm so glad I did because they had a strategic implementation framework ad hoc, and they had a discussion. They had met 5 times. It was 15 hours of work. And Director Cox, she's always so impressive. She was saying that this is a sea change in how they approach things, a more holistic approach. And they're looking at defining a new way in what our responsibilities are. And so they were looking at their the act that the agency has and the power and the functions that it has. And the idea is that our job is to make sure water's available, nothing about growth. And obviously, I'm really interested in what they're having to say here because it's about how it applies to us. Obviously, they're a wholesaler. I think they do some retail, but they're a wholesaler. And but one of the things was in the act, their enabling act is may versus shall, and may is permissive and shall is mandatory. And so they talked about that important, distinctions such as their agency purpose. The purpose of the agency shall be to do any and every act necessary to be done so that sufficient water may be available. So anyway, they're really looking at what the language is and what it means. And so now they're talking that they're going to talk more with the customers like every 5 years and talk about contracts and the value proposition about what people want instead of just saying, this is what people want. But this is about ratepayers paying into the cost of service for other ratepayers. I really recommend that you guys watch this recording because it's just a really fascinating way of looking at doing business a little differently and some of the questions that we've even asked here. So like, for example, they're saying we are paying them to have access to the state water project water. It makes sense to make the best use of it as MWA possibly can. Let's account for the full cost of whatever we're doing or not doing. Constituents are paying taxes for things, preparing for growth when they are getting no benefit and they don't want growth. If water comes from one basin, but we're charging the other, recharging the other, and they're paying for the recharge, that's not fair. So then it made me think, you know what I mean? We're recharging one basin, right? But isn't another basin providing water to different people and we're having everybody pay for the recharge?
We recharge one basin, that's right, and we have only one well in the other basin.
Okay, I'm just sharing, you know. So there was, and the model is, they were talking about the distance the water has to travel to. And they also said, I'd mentioned this to Ray a little while ago, that maybe some places where we're delivering water, that it might make more sense to have a reservoir there and just deliver the water to that and give it that, you know what I mean? Bring a tank and do tank instead of paying for all that infrastructure. So I think that's a good question too. You look at the cost of that. But anyway, this distance model is the train ticket versus the postage stamp. And President Flowen went, I'm sure he'll have much to say about it, but if they switch to the train ticket model, it's going to cost more for the further MWA distributes the water. So, you know, a postage stamp, it doesn't matter if it's going to Ohio or to San Bernardino, it's the same cost, right? But the train ticket, you pay for the distance that it goes. So again, I recognize there's a difference between wholesalers and retailers before General Manager Johnson says that. But anyway, I just thought it was really fascinating and I recommend it to you as the July 10th meeting. That's all for me.
Director Fick?
Well, I attended the Mojave Water Agency by remote on I think the 24th or 24th. And it wasn't as exciting as that one, but what they did was they extended their lobbyists from 1 year to lobbyist contracts from 1 year to 5 years. I would have recommended 3 years, but they did all 5 years. And they did it with practically all the lobby groups that they had, including, you know, California, federal and all that kind of stuff. That's about all I remember of that one. And then also, you know, of late topic right now, you know, as of, well, it's past that, past 5 o'clock. We were supposed to put in, the community of Joshua Tree was supposed to put in comments towards the Joshua Tree Resort, but they don't call it that. They just call it a rezone of 40 acres, which is actually 37 acres. And they want to rezone 7 acres to 16 acres so they can put this resort as close as possible to the Joshua Tree Creek. Instead of having it in the corner of where the 7 acres of commercial currently are, they want to put it as close as possible to the creek. And the problem with that is if they harden their dikes and walls for the project, which we did find the project, even though out of 440 pages, they don't mention what the project is. They only mention about the rezoning. And of those, so we found the project elsewhere. And that project, if they harden the front southwest corner of that project, it's going to be like the bow of a ship dividing the waters coming across the highway from Joshua Tree Creek traveling north. It'll send another probably third of the water directly east down Highway 62 to downtown Joshua Tree downhill. And then the other 2/3 will go behind us where it normally goes. Whereas it normally just all goes, well, probably 90% to the Joshua Tree Creek. So it'll be diverting water if this project goes forward. And I checked with a lawyer, a friend of mine, and they can do this. They can have a project approved on the rezoning separate from the project itself. Like I said, they made every effort not to ever describe what this project is about. And what we can see, it's the Joshua Tree Resort. It's probably got about 40 units to it. The clubhouse, pool, parking, commercial shops, all that kind of stuff that we don't really know about yet. And we're done with comments as of today on the rezoning, not the project itself. So I don't know if they're going to have a hearing separate of the project or a hearing just on the rezoning, but it's confusing and kind of deceptive on the proponents and the county's part in doing it. So that's part of my report. I don't know. I have much more than that, but there it is.
Director Jarlsberg?
I didn't attend any direct water meetings, but I did go to the Landers Homestead Valley Association again, which is the highlight of my life lately. A great crowd. And it's worth attending. Marina West was not there this time, so we didn't really have a water discussion. And I think that's about it for me.
Director Schwartz?
I did not attend any additional meetings recently either. But I do want to take a moment to also publicly thank the crew that worked on the leak. It's fantastic work. And it's moments like that that make me proud to be part of this organization. Also, I've noticed that there's been, would say some doubters in this district's abilities. And I think that what the crew accomplished has gone a long way to silence that. So I'm happy about the outcome. So thank you all.
Can I just add something? Because in this regard, I was mentioning before the meeting that the publicity or the announcement that General Manager Johnson made would be a good thing to include in our coursework that we're developing for the college. That it's a great example of a positive, serious project that came out positively. And I think it should be used as an example of, kind of things that we have to accomplish, the important things.
Well, I thought it was a busy time. The market is always the market. We were both there. We survived a dust devil that like 10 ringed our boot, moved it several inches.
Ooh.
It's hard for me to grab onto the structure and hold it down because there was a banner flying in front of my face.
God.
But anyway, I also went to the Copper Mountain Mesa breakfast and rubbed elbows with folks over there. That one was, I have never felt quite so welcome there as I did that time in terms of being a familiar face and a familiar person. So we're making progress with that group. I actually attended the the Mojave Water Agency meeting, which there's sort of a differentiation there where they were actually talking a lot. It was blended, but they were talking a lot about how they were going to write their strategic plan rather than what the specifics of the plan were, which is something I was struggling with when I was reading the thing, because I thought this is just such a generalized thing. Where's the meat that goes on the bones? And then I realized what that essentially was. It was sort of a formula, like a mathematical formula on a process for doing something. And then later on, once you establish the formula, then you fill in all of the blanks. If I try to look at it that way, I can get a little bit more out of the thing. And then we also carpooled to save fuel. We carpooled to the Belfield Hall Association thingy, and that went well. At some point, they'll probably improve the sound system so that we can hear each other.
Yeah, they're back to being legal, so they can make money.
Yeah, that was on the radio this morning that they are a going concern again there as far as because of not applying for the charitable thing, whatever that section is for that.
Incorporation.
It's getting late.
It's state incorporation, yeah.
Yeah, to be a non-profit, that was suspended because they hadn't properly done the paperwork with the state and all that stuff. But that has all been taken care of, and they're going to be back in business creating revenue to keep the thing going up there. Because obviously they're responsible for this building and stuff like that. It's kind of a special deal. the way you can get all sorts of county governmental agencies there to report to this group if it's regular people.
Yeah.
The sheriff is there, the county has somebody there. The water agency has somebody there, which is also the local water agency, all in one person. So it's a useful and I think important way to practice democracy in the desert, which is seems to be more active here than in most places. But it's things have been busy lately, and that's the way it should be. This reaching out to communities and people to provide information about the water company and the delivery of the water is inherently inefficient, but I think it's essential that we do it. And we do. Enough said. General manager's report.
I got a couple of items. We received our first check from the defective pipe in the amount of $331,000, $794.15. We're
Goodness.
expecting a second check for $55,976.56. So the defective pipe that we talked about last year has been refunded fully. We are looking to add a new module to GeoViewer to track backflow devices and hazard assessments. We have a demo with them next week. So if you remembered the last board meeting, the cross connection control program was adopted and sent to the state, and part of our process in there requires us to track every single backflow device and all of the assessments for every single parcel. And that's a really massive undertaking.
Yeah.
So we're going to look at doing that a little bit more efficiently, hopefully with GeoViewer.
Oh.
We're finalizing our contracts right now. We're working today for the well 15 rehab and working on a purchase order for the recharge pipeline repair that will be sent to, we're going to have to pay for it, and then we'll send for reimbursement from Caltrans. And last but not least, we have been working diligently over these last, 7-8 months with Jacobs Engineering Firm on the chromium-6 analysis. They will be coming to via Zoom our August 20th board meeting to give a presentation on the analysis, so you can see some of the work that we've done. That being said, the state's still moving along and quickly, and we will be developing letters that will be going to the public pretty soon, and a big effort to let them know that we are in compliance with the new MCL. Our water hasn't changed. I want that to be very clear, but the MCL has. And so those letters are going to go out, and the state mandates some of the how the writing is done, and they, I think they tend to scare people more than help. So we'll need to work together on a good messaging so that people understand, the work that we're going to do to comply with the new MCL. And then last but not least, Anne had one more.
Again. All right, I just wanted to point out, you may have noticed this in your check or the check basket that you went through earlier. The annual CalPERS additional discretionary payment, the ADP on the unfunded accrued liability, the UAL, was paid today. This voluntary additional $39,930 will be applied towards the current UAL of $1,254,508. And remember that the UAL is a fluctuating figure that changes due to various circumstances, such as changing mortality rates, interest returns. It's constantly changing. This is the 5th year we've made such an extra payment, and over a period of 15 years, we anticipate that these extra payments should add up to about $150,000 or more in savings, in interest savings. In addition, you may have noticed that there was also mandatory prepaid annual payments on the unfunded accrued liability. So there's the mandatory portion, and then there's the additional discretionary portion. We paid all of those. So we paid the additional discretionary payment of $39,930. We paid the mandatory payments of $6,527 for PEPRA and $85,378 for the classic program. Try to explain what you saw earlier today.
Thank you.
Future director meetings are noted on the bottom of the agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn this regular meeting?
Don't move.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much for everyone that